make sure you're a big note first. Make sure that you're good at what you're doing. So then when you talk about yourself, you have no doubt that your shit is good, you know.
I'm Rudi, and this is Big Note, a shame-free zone where we celebrate what makes you a bit of a big noter. Miss Kaninna, what makes you a big noter?
It was actually crazy because I didn't know what big note was until I heard Barker's song. And I was like, what the fuck is a big note? And everyone was like, how come you don't know what that is? And I was like, oh, shame, Joe. I thought, is it like a black fella thing? Or is it like all fella thing?
I don't know, but I think that blackfellas use it in a really particular way. They think of it as like a know-it-all. I think that we put it on people as a label to kind of...
to minimise them.
Yeah, which is why we're doing this. We're banning shame.
We love that. We love to get rid of shame. I guess what makes me a big noter is that I've been surfing since I was like a kid, like maybe 3, 4. I've stopped surfing recently because I obviously have taken on my music career, but I've spent my over 1,000 hours in the water, that's for sure.
What got you into it?
I just love the water and like nature. Like I was being brought up down in Tassie. I grew up on an island down the very bottom of Tas, Bruny Island, Lunawanna. And my stepdad at the time was a massive surfer, and we had some of the best breaks like 10 minutes from my house. And so like just being around the water all the time and wanting to do that, I guess really drove me to want to be in the water and give it a go.
I think when people think about surfing, they're thinking a lot of the time it's something that's very like white, masculine, kind of verging on toxic masculinity, but it has its origins in the South Pacific. How has that influenced your experience of surfing?
Well, just like everything, white fellas have fucking colonised Indigenous cultures. So yeah, Hawaii is where surfing comes from, and obviously the Pacific people are the Moana people are so caring and loving and happy and joyful, and that's where surfing comes from, the connection to the water and the connection to the land. Also, I am grateful that we've been able to bring surfing down here, but at the same time, like that toxic white masculinity is like prevalent in Australia, so-called Australia, especially in Tasmania. And so for me, I started off surfing in a really family-orientated, beautiful way, and then when I got a little bit older, you know, and I hit puberty and I'm surfing with these boys, I realised that it was extremely misogynistic, and it just kind of like shook me a little bit, where I was like, damn, like I didn't think I'd have to hustle for these waves, and now I'm out here like punching on with these cunts. Oh, can I say that? Okay, in the water, but still at the same time, like that's their problem, and you can choose to put that aside if you want to, because how you choose to have your surfing session is your own. So like I'll go out there usually by myself or with a couple other people, my brother and my family, and we'll just play around and enjoy the water and listen to the birds, and you know, sometimes you see whales, dolphins, seals, all that. So yeah, it's more of like a time for me to separate myself from the hustle and bustle of the city, I guess, and get in the water and be by myself.
Who you are on stage is a really powerful person. Thanks. Is that also who you are in the water? Like what's
100%. I feel like you have to be like that in the water, especially as a woman. Like if you show any weakness, men are like, right, she's not taking it seriously, and they cut in front of you, they take your wave, they talk shit about you in the water. It's like really fucking full on. And like me and my little brother, we used to just like, not hound people, but when they'd come to our local spot and they would treat us with disrespect, we would just like, not have any of it. Like I'm not punch ups, but I've gotten in a few, like I've thrown my board at someone before.
I was thinking about the hyper-masculine kind of culture around surfing, and also the hyper-masculine culture around hip-hop and R&B. But I'm curious about like the way that you're carving out a space for yourself and other women in hip-hop and R&B.
I guess it's just another day in the colony. Pretty much every avenue is dominated by men. You know, it's not just hip-hop, you know, it's the music industry is dominated, and sports is dominated by masculine men. And so when you break those things down into surfing and hip-hop, like obviously those things translate. Women, especially women of colour and black women, we still are being treated as though we can't do these things because of our genetic makeup or whatever, and we just know that's transphobic, we just know that's racism. But it's great because we're coming to a place now where society is starting to abandon those ideas, you know, like the Matildas having one of the biggest turnouts over men's sport. And the same with like WSL, a lot of people are starting to pay a lot more attention to women surfing. And arguably, I think the women are better surfers. It just comes down to the way that they're graded on like the tricks and shit like that. But you know, for me, I prefer surfers with style, like Stephanie Gilmore. Like, you can't beat Steph. Like, she has so much like sass but grace when she's on the waves. And to me, I think that she'd outsurf all of those motherfuckers, you know. And then you look at hip hop, someone like Missy Elliott in hip hop, she beats down these motherfuckers. Like, to me, she's like exactly the same. Like, she's graceful, but she's also badass, you know. It's just like, we're grading these people based on their gender and not on their style. And it's gross. And I'm really excited for that to shift and change. And I feel like the only reason why I am able to do these things is because the people before me. Like, my pop always treated me like a person rather than a girl. My uncles always treated me like a person rather than a girl, and same with the rest of my family. So yeah, I've never thought of myself as less than just because I have a vagina.
So because we're banning shame and we are stepping into our power as big notice, what advice do you have for a baby big noter?
Make sure you're a big noter first. Make sure that you're good at what you're doing. So then when you talk about yourself, you have no doubt that your shit is good, you know. I think just be really confident in who you are. The biggest thing for me is when people who don't surf or have never seen me surf tell me that I can't surf because I don't have photos on Instagram or videos or reels of my highlights. You don't know me, so I'm not gonna let your opinion impact me. And if you don't think that I can surf, that's great, because you're not a threat to me. You know, I'm not a threat to you, then you go do your own thing. But I think for baby big noters, like, don't let people who have no idea who you are tell you who you are, because you know who you are and you know your skill set. And yeah, I feel like people are gonna come and go in your life, but you have to wake up with yourself every morning. And if you can be confident in who you are and you like yourself, then that's how you become a big noter.
A grown-up big noter.
A grown-up big noter, yeah.